You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I'm your host, Jeremiah Morrell, and as always, truly as always, we're joined by our co-host, Dakota Davis.
Hey, what's up, Jer?
Episode 55. 55. I can't do 55. That's what Sammy Hagar would say.
I don't get the reference.
Peg, do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
Thank you. Our show is about our lives in rural Indiana. It's a show about folks who are involved in politics, and we promise that our episodes are going to be a fun and an easy listen. We interview people who are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and folks that we just find interesting. On my far left today, we have Chase Peyton on the sports desk. We are counter-programming, Chase.
What
the
up,
NBA playoffs, Game 5, Pacers, Cavs, and you're going to be coming in with updates.
I am staring at LeBron James's ugly face right now.
Coming in hot. All right. He's probably using the Wi-Fi too, and it's going to trip Dakota.
I am not.
Probably is.
I'm not using the Wi-Fi.
You're going to use your own data?
I have unlimited data. I was grandfathered in. Thank God.
Thank God.
And I'm never leaving my parents' plan.
My parents left my plan this year, finally. That's the old guy in me.
My parents just kicked me off. They said, you got married, you're on your own.
It's on you. Are you Peg? Who's Peggy Stefandel or Peg? Is it Stefandel?
Mm-hmm.
Or Peg Stefandel?
Good job.
I messed it up the first day, and I'm doing my best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You did well.
We tried. You on your own cell phone plan at this point in your life?
Do I have to admit?
Yeah, I want to know.
I'm on my daughter's.
Yeah, my parents were on mine forever, from like 2003 till this year.
They insisted.
Yeah,
since they said I do so much for the kids,
Well, that's awesome.
And I'm blessed. I am.
And you don't have to worry about it.
That's right.
Well, cool. So Peggy is running, or Peg is running. Her sign says Peg, so we should call her Peg.
It's Peg.
Let's swear to that one.
Most people call me Peg.
All right.
Okay.
My aunt, we talked about it earlier. My aunt, I have an Aunt Peggy, so that's where I will divert. So if I goof up, I'm thinking of my Aunt Peggy. So you are running for county council in Henry County here. It's the western part of Henry County.
Right. North
to south, pretty much anything west of, we'll stay State Road 3 and outside of Newcastle area. Is that pretty much right?
Yeah. 200 actually,
Yeah, so Western Road or 200 north and then like 400 south or something like that. Somewhere in there. All the rural places where people are, there's some people, but not it's not the super populated parts.
Yeah, Middletown, Springport, edge of Springport, Sulphur, Greensboro, Knightstown, Kennard, Shirley.
You ever been to the Sulphur Springs Mud Bog?
I have.
Were you there the year I fell off the trailer? I'm a PA guy.
No.
Yeah, the Chapmans, they always find a way to get myself and Greg Phipps to go out there and do the
that's my favorite.
the Sulphur Springs Mud Bog.
That's my second favorite Jeremiah story.
We don't have to tell them all today.
No, we don't. This is about Peg.
Yeah, this is
about Peg, not Jeremiah.
So you're running for county council.
I am.
Are you crazy? I'm running for county council, and I'm probably crazy, and it's made me crazy.
I've been told that I'm crazy. Not that you're crazy, but I'm crazy.
I just look crazy.
Yeah.
I've got a podcast. There's a lot of things that make me crazy. All right, well, we'll get to know her a little bit as we go along here, and we're going to get into the issues of the campaign. But for now, the show notes Dakota has prepared for us say that we are supposed to ask, how do people vote in the primary? This is like an educational thing. What's this about?
This definitely is an educational thing.
Peg, have you voted yet?
I haven't. I wish I had, but I haven't.
Well, okay, I'm going to give you advice. I've worked on like 5 campaigns now. Every 2 years, I just either run for office or work on a campaign. When you go run for office, make sure they take your picture. You make a big deal of it. When you vote, have them videotape you outside, talking about who you voted for, what you did. Make it a spectacle. Whether you do it on election day or before.
Okay.
You got to make it a thing.
I'll remember that.
Yeah.
Even if I have to do it myself.
Or you got staff. You got to have people, right?
I'll get one of those selfie sticks.
You got to get a volunteer. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, I'll do that.
But yeah, you make it a thing.
Okay.
Get some mileage out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to
take it from some guys that videotape themselves in a spare bedroom all the time.
If you're free that morning, you could.
Well, I was going to say, you could just go buy some mobile podcasting equipment And then I know a really good local podcast that would willingly accept donations.
Okay.
See, I've taken a lot of selfies in my day, so I could show you some of the techniques.
Yeah. Chase is really good at selfies.
In the We're Libertarians group chat.
You got to get the duck lips going.
Oh, let's see your duck lips for the HD camera.
Duck lips? Yeah, I'm not very good at
You must be watching online for that one. You wanted to come here to learn selfie techniques, right?
I did.
Yeah,
now I know.
On the We're Libertarians group chat, as we plan all these things out, they found an old picture of me. It was an early selfie. I think I invented the selfie at the 2009 Daytona 500 in a rain delay.
Hilarious.
I had it was taken like from my feet. I was in the stands and I was bored and I took that and somehow I posted it to Facebook. And then 9 years later, your so-called friends take it and make fun of you.
Yep.
So goes life.
It was funny. I laughed at that one.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yep.
All right, so this primary thing, the two legacy parties, the Republicans and Democrats, have a primary where you guys filed to run for office back in January, back in the early winter, during the first winter. We've had like 5 or 6 winters since then.
Yeah, never ending.
You guys, there's 4 of you running in the Republican primary. Is that right?
Actually, 5. If you count the incumbent, yeah.
Okay, all right. So you guys all signed up to run. And then the primary is 2 weeks from Tuesday. And basically you go in and you say, hey, I want a Republican ballot. And then everybody that's going to be on your ballot, you're choosing who you want to support or who you want to carry the Republican torch in the fall.
Right.
To vote in the Republican primary, you have to say, hey, yeah, I plan on voting on the majority of the Republicans in the fall, or you take the Democrat ballot and the same thing. Libertarians, we handle things a little differently, where we did a convention.
Libertarians, we talked about it on this show with the District 6 area Libertarian Convention. Basically, all the counties in the Congressional District number 6, we got together and we hold a convention where the counties nominate who they're going to put up for office, and then the voting delegates of said party will vote to approve those people, and then that is how we put them on the ballot. So if it's contested, then it's all done in-house. So we... this year we had it at Montgomery Steakhouse. We rented the back room, had a really good turnout, and nominated all those people. And we had a big paperwork signing party afterwards with all the candidates and treasurer and everybody.
Yeah, we had to have notaries there, the whole thing. But I'm on the ballot. We were talking about that before the show. I got through our primary process, and I'm on the general election ballot as county council to candidate in District 1. So we'll find out here in just a couple of weeks for you how it's going to go.
This topic was kind of brought up. It was actually a suggestion by other co-host Cade Koger, and said there's a lot of misconceptions out there whenever it comes to primaries because basically it differs state by state.
Right.
So there's no national this is how it's supposed to be done. So that a lot of people think you have to be a registered Democrat or a registered Republican. We just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that you go there and then you just pick one of the party's ballots. You don't actually have to be a member in the county to vote. So that's...
No, you do need to be a registered voter. I think you had to be registered 4 weeks before the election. Mm-hmm. So if you register now, you can vote in November. But if you're not already registered, you can't get into the primary now. Yeah. So they've got the list. The voter registration list is locked.
Right.
So yeah, that's the way that one works.
It is.
So let's get to know Peggy a little bit. We were chatting a little bit before. We didn't have the mics turned on or anything running. But we learned you've been here your entire life. You in northwestern Henry County.
Correct.
You graduated from Cadiz, which is now a part of, I guess that's Shenandoah Schools.
Yeah.
What? I'm going to get myself in trouble, Dakota. Tell me I shouldn't. I'm going to ask the question, then you yell at me. What year did you graduate from Cadiz?
The very last year.
You're the last year. Very cool.
The last graduating class to go through Cadiz. So Cadiz is part of what school district now?
Shenandoah.
As far as Shenandoah now?
Yeah.
Do you listen at all? We just covered that, man.
Just
now.
I was making sure.
He's in his own head there.
I was trying to make sure that the audio is still working. Yeah. I'm very paranoid at this point.
It could go terribly wrong.
Cadiz, Middletown, and Sulphur Springs.
Okay.
That's what made Shenandoah.
That's what made Shenandoah.
Very cool. I didn't know that. I knew where Tri came from, and I knew some of the other districts. But I never really. I grew up in the northeastern part of the county, so I didn't really know the backstory on Shenandoah.
Yeah, when they first consolidated, it was Northwestern, actually.
Okay. That was what they called it.
Because my senior year, it was Northwestern Consolidated Schools Corporation, and then after they got the school done, they had the students decide on what it was going to be called, and they named it Shenandoah.
So how
After
many?
the valley over in the east, or what was the reason?
A lot of the settlers, were from the Shenandoah Valley. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, how many people were in your graduating class?
Oh gosh, you would ask that.
I'm just
You're going to have
curious.
more than Chase did.
Guess how many we had.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, think
Probably
about
more
it.
than you two.
Caddis was a very small school.
I'm going to
You
say
said 22?
14.
You
I'm
said
going to guess
20?
14.
no, I said probably
15?
more than
15.
Jeremiah. As
Yeah,
well.
I was a class of 1 as a homeschooled kid, and Chase was
Yeah.
one of 3 or 4.
Three.
3,
Yeah.
But I was number 1.
first place.
Were you?
So, yeah.
That's good.
You said 14. You guessed 14.
I did. Closest
I'm
to that
gonna-
going over.
Without going over, 13.
He doesn't listen.
15.
It was 15.
Yeah.
I'm going to say
And
oh.
I would have to count them, I guess, to make sure, but I think there were 15.
15.
One of my
Wow.
4-H leaders, he was in the class of 44 at Caddis, the late Phil Cassane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Phil was a
Yeah,
Phil was
I
a great
remember.
guy.
See, everybody knew everybody. It was
Yeah.
such a small school. I mean, I can remember my senior year, kids who were in first grade. I mean, I knew who they were, because it was
Yeah.
such a small school.
I mean, honestly, that sounds great. It sounds a lot better than what we have now, to be honest.
Oh, I
Yeah.
loved it.
With
I loved it.
how big classes. I mean, there are regular one teacher to more than 15 students in any subject. It's
Yeah.
crazy, nuts.
Yeah.
That's not on the show notes, but
Yeah, but it's
I
a
feel
lot.
strongly about it.
It's a lot easier to sleep through those classes.
When
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
You probably had a pretty difficult time with 3 of you.
Well, we had desks we sat at, so I just lean up on the desk and move my arms every once in a while, and they thought I was doing something.
So
But,
you were able to
Every once
control
in a while.
your motor skills while
I
you were asleep.
was either napping or I was playing on my iPhone.
You still graduated
He went
top
to
of
high
your
school
class.
with iPhones.
Yeah.
I couldn't
We still
imagine.
had manual typewriters. You don't even know what that is, do you?
I've seen them in like museums.
Okay, there you go.
I spent at the end of my 4-H career, we had to do in vet science. You took a vet science class or the vet science program, and you had to answer all of these questions, and you had to type them up. And we didn't have a computer that was worth
yeah.
anything, so I had my mom's electronic typewriter. So you would type, but it was truly going on a paper, but it was not. It wasn't the mechanical where you press the button. It was like driving an automatic transmission. But yeah, it was a different world.
Yeah.
Using a typewriter. I'm just barely old enough to relate on that one.
Okay.
So from Caddis, you went to AU, Anderson University.
Actually, I went to Ball State right out of high school, and it was overwhelming. I mean, absolutely overwhelming, just from Caddis to that. And then, so I didn't continue there, and then got married, had kids, and then worked. Gosh, I worked for almost 10 years in a factory. And then
Around here?
No, actually in Indy.
Doing what?
Yeah, worked at RCA.
Okay.
Made cassette tapes. You know what those are?
Wow.
I do know what those are.
That's what I made. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, you see all these foreigners walking around in their suits and taking notes and pictures. And I went home and told my husband. I said, you know what? I don't think I'm going to have a job very much longer.
Doesn't feel like this is going to stay.
Yeah. So he didn't believe me, but I said, well, I don't think so. So I quit work and went back to school.
So
Yeah,
you went to Anderson University,
Mhm, I
got your
did.
nursing degree,
Mhm.
and then you wound up back at Ball, not at the university, but at the university hospital.
Uh-huh.
And it says you spent over 20 years as a surgical nurse.
I did.
So
Mhm.
that's very
Yeah.
cool.
So what kind of what it says? We also have down that you were the clinical nurse manager for orthopedic and neurosurgery.
Right.
Were those also was that the type of nursing that you did whenever you were in
the OR? I started out just as a staff nurse,
Okay.
and then went on to clinical manager for orthopedics and neuro, and that included podiatry and anything that had to do with bones.
Huh.
And did that for 10 years. And so I basically was responsible for making sure the surgeons, the orthopedic and neurosurgeons, had all the equipment, all the, everything, the instruments, everything they needed, and made sure the surgeries went as planned.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really interesting.
Oh, I
the
loved it.
neurosurgery part. That sounds so interesting to me. I bet.
Yeah,
how can it not be?
Bones and brains, I love it.
I said
love it.
maybe you'd have more of a regular schedule because you worked in the OR instead of emergency, but that wasn't the case. You said you still had weird odd hours as even in the OR because you guys dealt with things on an emergency basis as well.
Correct. Yeah. And being the clinical nurse manager, I was pretty much on call all the time. The only time I did not have to be on call was when I was on vacation, where I was unreachable.
In the show notes, whenever we were talking about you going to Anderson University with your nursing degree, I put a link in there for all the Patreon subscribers who get the show notes to follow the program. Did you happen to click on it whenever I sent them to you?
I did.
I was just curious for a minute to see if the program had really changed or if it was pretty much the same.
Actually, I keep up with them, and it has
really?
changed. Yeah. I mean, they have new facilities now, so it has changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
From what it was when I went.
Whenever I was an electrical contractor, the longest job that I had was at Ball Memorial Hospital.
Oh, really?
And I know the floors there very well, like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
I worked in a lot of places. I crawled around in a lot of places too.
How many spiders did you see?
Not really a lot of spiders, but they were just basically like I worked closely alongside the pest people. Mm-hmm. There's a pest, and they would come and they would throw these discs up in the ceiling tiles. There were some weird like sanitized disc that would attract the bugs, so they would all just go to that one ceiling tile, and then the guy, whenever he needed to clear it out or change it, he would just take that one tile out and they were all right there.
In your set.
Yeah, basically just like flies and stuff.
That's good.
Yeah. It's not that. I mean, everybody likes to tell horror stories about different places like, oh, these are so dirty. It wasn't really the case. I mean, most of the places I did were relatively new too because we just finished working on them.
Yeah.
So that might have had a part to do with it.
So in your time professionally as a nurse, what do you think you learned there that applies to being a council member?
Probably the most important thing was just how to plan ahead, set a priority. For example, if you had a trauma come into the OR, you look at that patient and and I wouldn't be the one making that decision necessarily, but the surgeon would or the anesthesiologist. And you look at that person and you say, okay, what are the injuries? If they're bleeding and have a broken leg, what are you going to take care of first?
You triage, you do the blood. Right? You deal with the bleeding and the broken leg we can deal with later.
You got to get them stable before you can do anything. And I kind of look at the county's situation the same way. You look at, okay, what are the needs of the county? And what is the most serious thing?
We have different issues, but which do you attack first is what you're saying, right?
You have to prioritize.
Okay.
And once you identify that, then you got to get a plan. You have to have a plan in place to evaluate, okay, what can we do? What are our options? And then go from there. You can't just jump in and say, okay, this person needs this or this group needs that, So.
Well, very cool. The other fun facts Dakota has researched for us.
There were some fun facts that you did. You gave us a little bio of yourself. You wrote a bio, and I used that for the show notes. And it said in there, you're a certified scuba diver.
I am.
And you're certified in advanced scuba diving and rescue scuba diving.
I am. Mm-hmm.
How did you get into that? What was the?
That's awesome.
I know it's really cool, isn't it?
Do either of you do that?
No,
nobody.
It's so much fun.
Listen,
it's so much fun.
I can doggy paddle. That's about it. Okay, my girlfriend's a swimmer and she makes fun of me all the time, but that's what she's getting. So
his girlfriend is a collegiate level swimmer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she travels around. She was down in Georgia a couple weeks ago for Big Bean.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I got into it because my husband wanted to do it. He kept saying, let's take scuba lessons. And I'm like, don't want to do it. And I love water. I mean, I grew up with a pool, was always in water. But I didn't want to do that. But he just really was adamant, let's do it. And finally I said, all right, I'll do it. But I'm not thrilled about this. So we ended up doing it, taking the lessons. And actually, I loved it more than he did. He was like, okay, we did it. That's enough, and didn't even want to go on a trip. And I said, oh, no, we're going on trips. We're going to do this. So we, I loved it. And the more I did it, the more I wanted to know.
So what kind of places did you go? Did you dive some shipwrecks, or where have you been?
We did one, and it was just a small, I call it a boat. It wasn't really a ship, but it was so cool. We went off the coast of Honduras to Roatan a couple times, and then we went to a little island, another one off the coast of Honduras, Utila, to see the whale sharks. Went there. Just amazing things. Went on a night dive. My first night dive was there.
Oh, that would be terrifying.
How
That
freaky
sounds
was that?
Fun, huh?
How freaky was it?
It wasn't. It was. They took us. We went. We went. Oh, it was so cool. We went down on the bottom and we sat on the bottom of the ocean, and this is where the ship was, and there were 4 of us, and one of the guys, he said, he told us ahead of time, when you get down there, just sit on the sand and then snap your fingers. And I thought, well, that's stupid, but I did it.
Only 2 of them came back.
And when you do that, it's dark, and when you snap your fingers, all these little friction flashes of light start, coming out like little sparklers. And then all these little sea creatures just start coming toward you. I mean, little shrimps. Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool.
Dakota has got goosebumps of terror over
It
here.
was amazing.
How many?
I'm a forest person. I would much rather go into the forest because the forest and the water,
fun.
They both have predators. But in the forest,
you can have a gun.
I can hear them. I can see them better.
And they're not coming from above and to the sides.
I can run. I am in my natural habitat. I'm one of those people that if I feel something rub up against me in the water, done.
Yeah.
The funniest thing was we were diving, and like I said, you always go with a buddy. So there were 4 of us, two and two, and all of a sudden my buddy said, let's go up, and I'm like, really? And I looked at my gauge, and I've got half a tank left. And I thought, okay, what? I don't know why, but he's ready to go. So we headed back, and he was kind of behind me. And all of a sudden we get to shore, and because we were doing a shore dive. We weren't on a boat. We did a shore dive. And we got out, and he said, check your air. And I looked down, and oh, my gosh, it was in the red. And I looked at him, I said, oh, my gosh, I've been sucking the air down like crazy. And he just laughed. He had my spare sucking it all the whole time because his tank was empty, but he didn't want to tell me that. He was afraid I'd panic, But he forgot to fill his tank.
Oh no!
Yeah, forgot to fill his tank. So he used all my air, but I didn't even know he was doing it. But it was an amazing dive.
Did you ever see any sharks?
Yeah, we did. Reef sharks and nurse sharks. No big ones.
Okay.
I mean, they were all
great
little.
whites.
I'd love the cage dive, but I'm not getting it. I'm not getting outside getting outside the cage.
I've never been that deep. I've snorkeled. Like I've snorkeled in Grand Cayman and I think off Cozumel, and just tarpon. Tarpon are the size I am. They're unreal. Yeah. You have fish that are
grouper.
unbelievable. Yeah,
grouper they're bigger than this table. They're amazing.
There are some big fish.
I'll end up like Jonah in there, trying to crawl my way out of a whale's belly.
My dad was probably in his late 20s, early 30s. He did some scuba diving. He was a fireman, and then he just generally did scuba diving. And they would go in northern New York. So he went to some War of 1812 sites in the St. Lawrence Seaway and in Lake Ontario.
Amazing.
So there were some. I don't know if he's supposed to have them or not, but he has some musket balls that he had recovered.
Oh, yeah.
So that were also very cool to see.
Yeah.
That is neat. I've always wanted to snuba dive. Like
snuba?
Yeah, that was a big thing whenever my wife and I were in Hawaii on our honeymoon. It's like they keep the tanks up on a raft up at the surface with just really long hoses, and you dive down. I thought that would be neat. But like there's nothing around you in the ocean in Hawaii.
What if something bites the hose?
It's the same ocean, man.
That's true.
Yeah. It's all connected.
Yeah.
See, I could do it.
They can still come and get you over in Hawaii.
Oh, I know, but I like it.
It's probably safer
the water
in the water.
Is just so clear.
The whole
there.
island can explode in a volcanic event in Hawaii.
Yeah. There's probably a better chance of that happening than getting attacked while you're scuba diving, but still, it's just still.
Well, you are the first admitted scuba diver on the show.
Oh,
We've
great.
not 55 episodes in. We found a scuba diver.
Another milestone.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, you are also a proud member of Sulphur Springs Christian Church.
I am.
There's a link to your church's page too on the show notes, and you do a lot. You're very active in VBS, correct?
I do. I do KidVid. You know what that is?
I don't know what KidVid is.
KidVid is where the kids come in and we show a video. And
the video and the snacks and stuff.
And then they just do the video in our room, and then we go through the video and talk about what we saw and what the meaning of it is, and how it can relate to us and.
Do you guys
God
have any political videos?
No,
we can put some on.
We don't. But if you'd like to make one, I could maybe look at it.
Chase
and I. We could
use little
present it
finger
to our
puppets.
pastor.
These two have got history, man. They're VBS veterans.
Yeah, we
like
are
3 or 4 years straight.
Yeah,
we only lost like a couple.
We were the
kids.
favorite. Yeah,
we're already planning the next one already. I mean, we got it.
The kids
in the
loved
works
us.
now.
Oh yeah, I think I threw my back out one year. It was
They would constantly jump on us.
That's where all my dance moves came from.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm ready for Nashville.
VBS, man.
We
so
only had
ready to go back to
we
Nashville.
only had
Chase.
one incident. It was when me and Dakota were working on at the landscaping place.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the auditorium, and the owner's son is standing up on the pew, and he gets depantsed in front of everybody. And he was kind of a quiet kid at that time, so I wasn't sure how he was going to handle it, but he handled it great.
He handled it pretty well.
Yeah,
we came to the rescue.
We got out of that one. That was a close call.
That one was pretty bad. I forgot all about that. That was pretty embarrassing.
Chase, what's going on the sports desk over there? We got a Pacers score?
All right, hold on. Well, Oladipo is shooting a free throw. Last I saw, we were up by 2. It was 15-13.
All right,
We can't
17-13.
All official accounts of the game belong to the NBA, and we can't do that. We'll get ourselves sued. All I think I can do is give me scores.
Really?
Yeah.
It is.
I don't
now...
want fined by the election board, and I don't want the NBA coming after us either, because that will bankrupt us.
All right, there is 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first quarter.
4:20.
Yes, 4:20. And the score is Indiana 18, Cleveland 13.
All right, cool.
So.
Very cool. We're in this thing, man. If they can steal this game, they come back home for game 6.
There's a shot. I think
LeBron
it goes
might
to
lose his
7.
first one.
I think it goes to 7 either way. But if Indiana's going to win it, they have to.
They have to win tonight.
This one.
Yeah. This is pivotal. All right, final get to know Peg thing.
Well, yeah. Final get to know Peg is you are a lover of classical music.
Especially Beethoven. I like Beethoven.
I was going to say, it's not classic.
Yeah.
But you got my
classic
Sammy
rock.
Hagar reference, so.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So my wife is also a big fan of classical music. She had to take a music, like a music appreciation course.
In Ball State. I did that at Ball State.
And she was like, and she thought it was going to be really boring whenever she got into it. And like a weekend, she's like, I actually really like this music. And I was like, really? But that's awesome. That's a really neat fact.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro is also a huge classical music fan. He does it. I don't know if you listen to his radio show. He does a political talk radio show, and every day he talks about like his favorite piece. I think today was something by Bach. I don't remember, but I thought of that whenever you said that you were a classical music fan. I was like, huh.
Yeah, I asked for all of Beethoven's symphonies on my 16th birthday. When
on your 16th birthday?
Mom and Dad said, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I said, "Beethoven symphonies." That was back when Reader's Digest, would put out the albums in vinyl.
Did you get them all on
what those are?
on 45s or what? Did you get them on?
They were on the 33.
Yeah, the little ones. You had
the big.
Okay, the 45 is the little one where you had to have the insert on it to make it spin right, and you had to flip the speed. See, I'm old enough to get some of this stuff, Chase.
So I actually have a record player. I have some new vinyls too. Like it's coming back around.
Oh yeah,
I like
hipsters.
I like listening to them. Kind of. I think there's just something about it that's kind of fun.
See, my favorite classical music is Metallica. They have a symphony. It's the S&M Symphony.
Master of Puppets, I'm pulling your strings.
Yeah, it's really good. I used to listen to it when I was trying to go to sleep.
Metallica's coming to Indy.
Are they really?
Go? Yeah.
My dad got me tickets.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, how much? Did you get enough for everybody?
He got a few, so for the right price.
Am I invited?
Maybe.
I'm self-inviting.
All right.
Forced friendship over here.
Yep.
All right. So let's
Now we're going to
Anything else
dig
we
into
should know
the
about you, or you want to
platform.
talk politics? You came here for politics. You didn't come to talk about
can talk
classical
about
music
whatever
and
you want to
all
talk
the other
about.
junk. Oh man! So the as we have this laid out by Mr. Dakota Davis, the first issue he has us talking about is industrial wind turbines. We're going to get right into it.
I laid it out how Peggy said.
Yeah.
She said her number one issue in industrial wind turbines.
Well, you noticed I put LOL right after that too.
You said, yeah, it was kind of funny because you said number one is IWTs. Number two is fiscal responsibility and a balanced budget. Number three is industrial wind turbines.
I did.
And then you said LOL. And then the fourth thing was ethical behavior of local government. Mm-hmm. So those are the things we're going to hit on, as well as county roads. I threw that one in there. And the Doughboy. We're going to talk about
get away from
that.
this
We can do that.
Doughboy topic.
You almost said stupid.
I didn't say it's stupid.
Don't be offensive like Chase was a few weeks ago.
Man,
Oh,
Chase,
listen.
I'm surprised you didn't.
I'll go back into it.
Did your
okay?
car
I'm
get
not
egg,
scared.
Chase, after your plans the last time?
What?
The Steve Alford replacement monument and all. I mean,
Well,
you had to get some hate mail.
I've switched it with the Eric the chicken.
Turkey.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Eric the
The
turkey. Same thing. Eric the turkey.
We're going to turn your microphone off. There's a 5-minute penalty for that.
I'm watching a game and trying to podcast at the same time. Okay, so I've switched it with the Eric the turkey monument, and that's getting a lot more love.
How big would it be?
Giant.
Like this?
It's a giant
Would it be
turkey.
big enough to fill
Have you
this
seen
room?
that? Have you seen that turkey or that chicken in the Dora the Explorer show?
No. Since
I turned Chase off.
since I'm not 5, I haven't seen it.
It is huge, so
Okay.
it'll be that big. So
All right,
Interesting.
let's refocus.
Yep.
Peg-
Industrial wind turbines.
Peg, you filed. You're running for county council,
I am.
and there's no secret that your number one issue is industrial wind.
So question number 1: would you vote for a tax abatement on industrial wind turbines?
The answer is no.
I didn't see that one coming.
You didn't see that coming? I would not vote for a tax abatement.
Oh,
but
she said no. All right, that's my count. We counted right now.
Right now,
It's 5-2
Right.
if Steve wins. If you beat Steve or somebody else beats Steve, it's probably 6-1
correct.
against abatements.
Correct.
So it's just like I've been trying to, news gathering partner Jeremiah over here. I've been trying to track this to figure out where we're at as far as abatements go.
Yep.
But you don't think that's enough. Voting no, because you think that there's still a likelihood that wind happens whether or not the council acts and gives an abatement.
They have made the statement that they don't need the tax abatement. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Who's they?
The wind
wind.
company.
So Apex or
Calpine
or
actually
okay.
has said that. I don't know if Apex, or NextEra has said that, but Calpine has said they don't need it.
And there are 3 different company names because there are 3 projects that are rumored in the county in different
Correct.
areas, different locations.
Correct.
So the one that's in your area is the
Calpine.
Calpine project, and that one you feel like they would potentially say yes.
Well, that's what. Oh, you mean they would say yes for the abatement, or they
No,
would
you
say
think that
don't?
they would build it without an abatement.
That's what they said.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
All
we're going to find out next week officially if Steve Duggar's stance on the tax abatement.
Yep. Next Thursday of next week, so a week from tomorrow,
Oh, okay.
Steve Duggar and Nate Lamar are scheduled to be on the program.
Oh, good.
So we'll have.
I'll watch that.
I'll be listening.
I would hope you watch all of them at this point. We do this for you, Peg.
I have been watching. I have.
We try to make sure we're loud enough.
Did
We
not
make
know
sure
you
can get this stuff.
existed until
Now
I
we're
got into
appointment
this.
viewing.
See, I stopped watching because the sound was so awful.
Yeah.
I did have trouble with that. It kept stopping and starting. So.
Oh yeah,
But
you
that's
were.
okay.
Yeah, I forgot
okay.
about that. You were watching one that didn't have good sound.
Sometimes it happens.
We got to get this fixed.
Yeah.
It's going good for you so far.
Yeah,
We'll just keep dragging it out until it stops.
It's the District 1 people between Kenan and Adam yesterday. Those those were not good. They were not good.
No.
So what motivates you about the wind issue? Obviously, you're opposed to it, and you've been a staunch
Opponent.
You can say
rock
it.
thrower, opponent, cheerleader against. I don't know what the you've been leading the opposition.
I have been called a very vocal wind opponent.
So you've been in that camp.
That's what I've been called.
What motivates you in opposition? Have you been around them and had bad experiences? Are you worried about the health side? Is it economically bad? Where are you coming from on this?
Oh gosh, you would get me started.
Or all of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. So many health issues I mean, years ago when all this first started, people did not know, and they keep relating them to the old-time farmer windmills. They're not, and they stopped using those for a reason. They were not efficient. So, but now with the studies they've had and the different, scientific research, we know that they cause a lot of ill effects to humans and animals. We know that. So that's one issue. The other big issue is our county does not have an ordinance that will protect everybody. And that is not acceptable.
So would that be issue number one, is setting the ordinance, setting something?
If they really want to have industrial wind turbine in this county, then we need an ordinance that's going to protect everybody.
So what should if you get elected to the council, there is one seat on the planning commission, which at this point the ordinance is probably going to land in the hands of the commissioners anyway. It's not going to be the council. But in theory, if you were that appointee to the planning commission, and you had an opportunity to have influence on this decision, are you a no vote no matter what the distance is or the setbacks are, or you staunchly no? Or is there is there any scenario that it's we could get there for some industrial turbines in the county, or is it just a flat no, not in Henry County?
If the ordinance was set up in such a way that it protected all the citizens, then I can see in certain areas it might be feasible. But first you have to look at the entire ordinance, and there's many, many aspects. The distance is one.
So when we talked to Butch Baker, it was, I think, distance, decibels, and there's another factor. What's the third? There's a third factor.
There's a third D.
Well, he said hertz, but I don't know that. Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about when he's talking about hertz.
So I think that he's talking about hertz as in, actually, I might be wrong here.
Well, we'll put words in his mouth.
I'm not going to say it.
I really don't know what he meant by the hertz.
What would be an acceptable ordinance to you?
As far as which area? I mean, you've got...
would you do township by township ordinances where you say we couldn't have one in Wayne Township or Fall Creek Township, but maybe you could in Stony or Dudley or something? Is that what you're thinking?
What I would have loved to have seen initially, first of all, is for everybody to be aware of what's going on. This all started in 2009, as far as we know. That's as far back as the minutes went. Before I didn't know. Nobody knew. So in 2009, we had no ordinance at all. So they then asked Madison County for a copy of their ordinance. That's how we got the one we have now. So, and then it was like 2012 before
attempted development came along.
Yeah. And so,
and that was the first one was the Southern Henry County project, correct?
Right.
That was approved, and it generally didn't have a lot of opposition in that area. In my recollection of it, the Southern Henry County kind of seemed to go along, and then the Northern Henry County project was announced, and that's where the majority of the opposition came from. And then they kind of joined together in just an anti-wind movement somewhere around 2016.
Right, April of 2016. Yeah. However, I think there was a lot more opposition in the southern part of the county. We just weren't aware of it.
Okay.
People were not aware of it. I mean, I was like everybody else. I never attended a meeting, never attended a commissioner's meeting or a council meeting ever in my entire life. Never did. Well, I take that back. Yeah, I did. One time, my husband and I went because we were trying to stop a rezoning. I forgot about that. That was years ago. So yes, I did attend one, but I was like everybody else. I didn't attend the meetings. You just assumed everybody was taking care of business, for the good of the people. And then we find out, okay, a lot's been happening, and we didn't know it, So I think there was a lot more opposition in the southern part of the county. People just didn't hear about it.
They weren't organized, or you didn't have people. So that pivots us, I guess, to the conversation that you want to talk about ethical behavior of county officials and transparency in local government. What improvements do you think need to be made? What do you think we can do to be more transparent or to improve that?
Okay, we've already talked about in the past recording all the meetings. Those need to be recorded.
Not having citizens do the recordings we're doing now, but having
it needs to be done officially.
Microphones that people are using and have something publicly
Correct.
available.
Correct.
So you're in favor of that?
I'm totally in favor of that.
And using county funds to do it.
Mm-hmm.
When Commissioner Baker was here, I think he said they put together a couple of proposals, and they were I think they're actively trying to get there. Whether or not we get it done this year or next year, I think both the city of Newcastle. I've talked to Councilman Dick, and they're researching it to do it for their council meetings.
Right.
And then the Henry County Courthouse. It sounds like that's in process. So you would be in favor of that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
How about
I'm
the meeting times? Like the 3:30 meeting time? Are you okay with that, or
No.
do you want a different? What do you think's right?
I think it needs to be a different time. Yeah, there are so many people that cannot attend that 3:30 slot. They can't get there. They're at work, and they always say, well, there is that other side of it. People that work evenings or the afternoon shift, they can't make them either. So.
But if you work an afternoon shift, you usually start around 2:30, so you're not making that.
You're
meeting
not making it
regardless.
either. Yeah. So yeah, I think it needs to be at a different time.
So you'd kind of be in the Clay Morgan camp with that, because it seems like every year he always brings that up.
Yeah.
And it seems like, well, I don't want to dog too much, but it seems like on the current council, every time he brings it up, people just roll their eyes. Like I've been there whenever he's brought it up, and it's just like, can't even get a second.
Yeah, I've talked with him about it. Yeah, it needs to be at a different time. It does, to make it.
It may end up having to be a different
accessible.
day, however, though, because if they did move it, if they've got a 3:30 meeting on a Wednesday, they met today at 3:30, they were done by 4:30 or 4:45, and then the commissioners meet at 6.
Right.
So in theory, you probably have
day.
to just go to a different date, in which the council can meet any day they want to.
Yeah, they can do that.
They were
done
on
at
Tuesday instead of a Wednesday
at 4:30 or so. So did they have anything special going on, or
they had some high school kids in, but it was a pretty light workload. I mean, I don't think you would want to try to go for a 5 o'clock meeting with commissioners at 6, because you'd never. You could have nights where that would not work.
No, they'd bump each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think sometimes
times.
they have. They may have had it this evening. I think there's another meeting that happens like this. The Three Rivers or whatever they call themselves now, the recycling group, which has city appointments and county appointments. I think they usually use that time in between and have that meeting. So that one's kind of difficult. Yeah. But I think in my view as a candidate, it's weird. I sit in this chair as a candidate and as and just as an advocate or a citizen, I think moving the time makes total sense.
It does.
And just say the hell with it. We're going to move it to Tuesdays now. Or we're going to have meetings on the second Monday or the first Monday of the month, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock, and then you got a better chance. You have the cameras there. A lot of times people worry about these cameras, and they say, I don't want to say the wrong thing. But it creates clarity where you don't have this game of telephone after the fact where, Chase went to the meeting, and he told me, and then I told Peg, and by the time I told Peg, it was slightly different than what actually happened. Where if you have a real video,
I was probably lying to you the first time anyway.
I know, because you're a terrorist over there with information, trying to build a turkey statue for a chicken. So
a chicken statue for a turkey.
So either way, nobody knows what the truth is,
unless if it's the headless chicken, who, as far as I know, is still alive.
You don't have an update on that. What's the basketball score?
It is 33-33
all
with
time
8 minutes
in the second
quarter.
All right. Well, we're hanging in there. Go Pacers. All right. So the other thing that we have on here, you've obviously, you're convinced that there's been some unethical behavior because you've sent emails out and called publicly for the resignation of damn near every public official we have.
I did.
Yeah.
So how do you say you win this election? How do you work next to 6 people you said you need to quit, or 5 people? I guess you didn't want Harold to quit, but how do you get anything done, or how do you have a working relationship with this group?
I guess I just say, I'm watching. I don't know. That's hard. I've been in awkward situations before. But yeah, things have happened that obviously are not something that should happen. I was told once, I love this, I say it a lot, people get tired of hearing it, that when I was reading the minutes, I was actually told, well, Peggy, you're not getting the true facts from the minutes. And I'm like, really?
Minutes can be very vague. All they have to cover, they don't have to cover the conversation or what everybody said. They basically just have to cover what the actual actions were that were taken.
Right.
But when you
To be
say
legal.
you're not getting the true facts, just makes you think, well, then what is the truth? That statement just went through me, and I'm thinking that should not be, and some of the officials had filed conflict of interest, and yet they continued to vote on issues. They continued to be in the discussion.
So if I remember correctly, Ed Yanos filed a conflict of interest because there was a company that had approached him, and he didn't sign, but he filed one because one approached. And then I think I'm just going off of what they've stated, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I think Butch Baker, did he file one or not?
Butch did not.
Kim Kronk filed one
did.
because I think somebody approached a member of his family to install one.
Mm-hmm.
And then did Olene Veach on the Planning Commission, who I think is just a citizen appointment. I think she was a county employee at one point, but now she's just a citizen appointment. She filed one as well, and that was the one that was somewhat controversial because it was filed later. It was filed retroactively. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but you think that there were ethical issues with each of those?
I do. Yeah. According to the county guidelines the Indiana government puts out, anyone with a conflict of interest is supposed to distance themselves from any discussion, any vote, and totally remove themselves from it.
So we see that on a pretty rate with our commissioners, and I don't get to attend because they're 3:30 in the afternoon. And I have a day job. I don't get to see council meetings, but on a general principle, every year Butch Baker, because his wife is the president of the Saddle Club, he files a conflict of interest on the Saddle Club, and he doesn't vote on Saddle Club issues. And Kim Kronk is on the board for 9 Star. So anytime 9 Star is like a telecommunications company. So if there's anything relating to them, paying them invoices or whatever, he recuses himself on those. So that's the way those are typically handled.
Right.
And they do recuse themselves.
They all actually file a conflict of interest every year because there's possibly certain things that they all may be involved in that may come up, like the 9 Star, the Saddle Club. So that's kind of a standard thing. But these were conflict of interest specific to wind.
Wind turbines. Right.
Specific to
and
wind.
that's the issue.
That's the issue. Yeah.
Right. That's the issue that you take. So going back to the resignation thing, I think it was you mentioned Clay Morgan. I don't know why. Whenever you go on public record and you ask for resignations, why is that? Why'd you decide to do that?
Yeah, what our co-host Clay do wrong? Why does he have to go?
Not specifically, just bringing him up.
When I spoke with the Attorney General, which I did, and the Inspector General, and with other state representatives on this issue. Our state cannot do anything about unethical behavior. They can't. I mean, they have guidelines, but they can't mandate that you must follow them. So the only recourse you have is at the local level. And if the officials that we elect are not doing their due diligence in protecting and working for the citizens, then we have a right to ask them to please step down. If they commit something that we can actually take to court, then you can have them removed from office.
Do you know who would do the removal? Is it like a judge gets appointed, or how does that get done?
You actually have to ask for a grand jury.
As a citizen? As a citizen.
Okay. You can take it to the prosecutor and ask for a grand jury to investigate. And then if they find that there are felonies or infractions that do warrant dismissal, then you can proceed from there. But it has to be done through the court system. As citizens, we really have no recourse, and that's because the county officials answer to themselves. There's no one overseeing.
Well, they should
answer
to us.
They should,
right.
yeah.
So and
that's That was the main reason I did that, to make a point. If the county officials who we elect and they take an oath to serve us and protect us and do things for the betterment of the citizens and for our county, then that's what they should do. And the sad thing is, everybody has their own opinion of what's ethical and what's unethical.
Right. Yeah.
It's not a cut and dry thing.
It's the classical question of truth.
Yeah.
Right. So what is truth, and who establishes what that truth is?
So are there specifically things that you think that the Henry County prosecutors should be looking into that didn't get dealt with? That would lead to that point, or do you think just out of the perceived conflict of interest that they should be resigning? Do you think there's something that the prosecutor should be involved in at this point?
Not that I'm aware of. No,
I think
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. That's right. You were just dogging on me for not paying attention.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. But
but you mentioned the process. So I was just trying to make sure I understood.
And that is why I checked with the Attorney General, because I wanted to know, okay, what recourse do we have? And that was the only legal recourse. Well, obviously, I can't say that they've actually broken a law.
Right.
But it's just a matter of, like you said, truth and trust. And that's one thing I stand for. Someone asked me, says, how do you feel about wind turbines? And I said, I don't like them. They are not safe. It's not going to benefit our county. And they said, well, you need to change how you say that. And I'm like, no, I can't change. That's how I feel. That's the truth coming from me. So, it is what it is. But that's the main concern for me. And that's why I did ask them to resign. I thought, do the decent thing here. If you're not going to work for us, then step aside.
Okay.
So you're flexing.
Huh?
You were flexing your muscles, showing them.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandson wrote me a note, and it just really got to my heart. He said, wrote me a note, just stuck it on the counter in the kitchen, and he said, "Mammy," that's what he calls me. He says, "I love your fighting spirit, and I hope one day to be just like you." Now that's when that comes from your grandchild, that's pretty neat.
And this is your first time in politics, right? I mean, first-time candidate. So this is all new to you.
All new. Yep. Never thought in a million years.
What made you choose council instead of, say, commissioner or a different office?
Well, for one thing, commissioner is kind of like a full-time job. Not that council, it doesn't take up a lot of time, but commissioner literally is a job where you're there. And I frankly can't do that.
You're not at that point where you've got that time commitment, but you can do you can be a county council.
I can be county council, but I can't go to the courthouse and sit there all day or whatever, however long they're there. I have other obligations.
My
husband likes to eat. So,
a crock pot won't cut it for him.
Yeah.
Hey, so do I. So no harm there.
All right. So, are there other steps you think that we need to take on the local transparency side, other than the AV and the is it the publishing minutes faster? Is it using different newspapers or different media outlets to announce things? What other steps need to be taken?
Absolutely. I think if they're going to put it in the paper, it needs to be bigger and not hidden in the classifieds, back in the back where all the legal notices are. I think it needs to be, just out there. Meeting coming up. This is what the agenda is. Put it out there. Let people know. And I know they sometimes. I know Clay at one time had it on his website.
Yeah, he used to do that.
Yeah, he used to do that, and I haven't seen that for a long time. But I noticed something in the Anderson paper, the Herald Bulletin, which I thought was an amazing and wonderful outlet. They literally posted in the newspaper what roads were going to be worked on.
The road work plan.
Yeah, and I thought, that. Why don't we ever do that? I mean, it literally had, this road, when they were going to do it, and I thought that was good. I like that. I like that transparency.
There's a a story that we posted on Monday. Was it Monday night? The times are running together. I think Monday evening.
Yes, it was Monday.
Dakota tried to get some information, and every county gets to decide or set their schedule for fees for getting documents and making things available. And I will say that in our experience, just trying to get the election, the campaign finance reports, Henry County's pretty restrictive.
Well, yeah, we get pretty difficult. Like, I mean, I don't know if you listened or heard last night, but I went down there and I expected to get copies of them as a county chairman for free, but it was $1 per page. All the CFA forms, it's like, I don't know, probably 90 pages. I would have had to pay $90. What I wanted to do was scan them and make PDF files available on our website so everybody could see the actual paperwork that the candidates filled out. Instead, because it was going to cost me $90, I had to borrow a pen and paper from the people, from the ladies at the voter registration office and
played
write
scribe.
everything down. And I actually ran out of time, so I had to buy Nate Lamar's and Ed Tarantino's because they had really thick ones, because they were both very detailed in the amount of things that they kept track of. And I just ran out of time, so I had to pay $16 for just those two reports.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so it was.
I had no idea.
But if you look at other counties, Wayne County, I use them as an example, and their county clerk, Barry, she has on their website, every one of those reports are on there by candidate. You can click on the PDF, download it, see it. There's no cost. It's totally available and instantaneously. Where for us, you've got to go to the county courthouse. You got to take time off work. If you work out of town, you got to go down there. You've got to find parking. You've got to go through security.
And statewide candidates are the same way.
Statewide, it's on the website. Yeah.
Through the Secretary of State office, you can access any of the financial records for statewide offices. And I was like, why am I standing in here? I had to give up, or I had to put my phone with the camera on it. I had to leave it in the truck. So it's not like I could go in there and take pictures of the documents. So it's just a bad situation. So Jeremiah, you reached out to the state. Yeah,
I checked. I said this last night. I talked to the Indiana Election Commission and Abby Taylor down there, who works in the campaign finance office, and said, "Hey, what are the rules? What is it supposed to be?" Because I'm like, I know some places are easier, and I've always worked with the state office, and they said, yeah, every county decides for themselves. Some put it on the website, and some you have to come in. And every county gets to set their fee schedule, and it's depending upon when your clerk's office is open. And if your clerk is in, it's for us, it's in the Justice Center. So the Justice Center has different rules because it's an actual courtroom where you can have cameras in a courtroom, and they have to go through security. You can't go in and take pictures.
Right.
Just the reality of the way we set it up. And then the commissioners have an ordinance that says, hey, it's $1 a page for county copies. We've got scanners we pay for. That's the stuff that I just want to, I'm desperate to get this county into the current year. It's 2018, it's 1990. And some of the things we do, I feel like, are policies and procedures that we set in a different era when we didn't have,
that's totally true. There's no reason I should have had to go down there.
A form, but you can't email a form in.
$1 a page too. Like, really? I could understand that if they had made that ordinance back whenever the copiers were going.
Like a mimeograph machine.
Yeah.
You don't remember those.
I don't remember it, but I remember the sound.
I had purple elementary school. I had
it smelled
purple.
good.
Yeah. I am older than I think I am. Peg and I relate on so many things.
I could have told you that.
Jeremiah's practically a Gen Xer. We're kicking you out of the millennials.
No, hell you are. I'm taking my smarts and going home.
When I am not a tech, I'm not a tech person. I admit that, but I agree. I mean that's something that needs to be looked into.
I think it's a big
We
deal.
should have access to that.
There's no reason that any citizen shouldn't have access to that.
There should at least be an email.
Or if you request a document, just have have it emailed out instead of having to come down and make It makes sense if it takes some time to put something together or get it scanned, and you have a freedom of information request. Give it time, but those sorts of things should be able to be emailed out.
I agree there. Yeah.
All right, so we've definitely got a lot of agreement on the local government stuff. We kind of skipped over fiscal responsibility because we started talking about transparency.
We had a great segue and couldn't resist.
I know it was there. So. If you are on the council, the number one job is you set the budget.
Right.
You are one of 7 votes. You're one of 7 voices, but the county council with the supervision of the state board of accounts sets the budget. So we've talked about this jail with everybody that's come through here. Have you had a chance to go through the jail yet?
Have not. And actually, I don't know that I want to go through it. I mean, I know I probably should, but I don't know that I want to even go in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I understand that. I fully understand that.
But yeah, when I drive by it, I think, oh my goodness,
I know, you're like, that's our county jail?
Yeah, I mean.
It's a small building with a lot of people in it.
Yeah, way too small.
So what are your feelings on the future of that jail? It sounds like we're going to have to make some sort of a change, whether it's building a new jail or revitalizing that jail. Kenan and Adam were on this, District 1 Republican candidates, and they called for a tax increase, a low tax increase. Is that where you're at to pay for a new jail, or do you want more information? I know that there's a study that's out that we're waiting to get information back from. What do you see the path forward with the jail issue?
building?
Yeah, Dakota's advocating we use our.
I'm saying the shell building.
I heard that. Yeah. I definitely want to see what the study says. I mean, before you do anything, if they're doing a study, if they're spending money to do a study, we need to know what it says. Having said that, I feel we need a new jail, and I feel it needs to go somewhere else besides right downtown.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things that space could be used for.
Could be another parking lot.
It could be.
It could be a preschool.
How cool would it be to have the new Boss Hog of Liberty studios in an old jail?
There you go.
Folsom Prison Blues playing the entire time.
Yes, I'll take the banjo. Chase, you can.
I'll sing.
Okay.
I was listening to that song
dance,
on the way here. Or I can dance too.
Do both.
All right.
Why not?
Jeremiah can be the lead singer, and I'll just be backup.
Nobody wants that.
No.
Well, Peg, can you sing for us? We'd be in our band.
Oh, you don't want to hear me sing, trust me. we were at a Christmas Eve service, and my daughter and son-in-law were both sides of me, and I was singing, and I was in between, and one was on one side, one on the other, and all of a sudden I see them both look like this. Kind of looked back, and then my daughter leaned over and she says, "Mom, can you just move your lips?" So you don't want to hear me sing.
Oh my goodness. That I don't like, even in church and places I don't really sing. Like, if I really like the song, then I'll hum that quietly to myself.
It depends. It depends what the atmosphere is like for me.
Yeah,
if it's get up and go, I'll sing a little bit. If it's really quiet and you can hear people actually sing, I just
get a couple beers in me, and I am full on ready to sing Toby Keith karaoke.
I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah, we've all been there. Let's talk to Peg about the county for a minute. If we can put the song title time on pause, put that on ice. Although I do want a score update from Chase in a minute, because it's got to be about the end of the second quarter.
56 seconds left.
Oh gosh.
Pacers leading.
It is 56-47 Pacers. My phone is
all right.
Kind of slowing down a little bit.
It's all right.
So
we're holding on to a 9-point lead almost into halftime.
So it could be halftime, but we are up.
All right, excellent. All right, so what's the county need to be doing as far as the finances? Are there departments that need more money? Are there departments that are overfunded? What do you see? Just a 30,000-foot view. What do you say with our budgets? Whether it's the park or the health department, the sheriff's department.
Before you can answer a question like that, you have to look at each one of them individually.
Sure.
And I have a printout of what the revenue is and what was spent. And to be honest with you, they pretty much, whatever they took in, whatever the department took in, they very seldom went over.
Right.
They very seldom. So that's a good thing. What I see mostly, just from my own point of view, is just not.
Sometimes, though, and this is coming from a person who's worked on government projects a lot. It's a lot of what I do. It becomes a thing to where if the mindset is if we don't spend this money, they'll take it away from us. So we spend it because we feel like we have to. And I do think that there's a lot of cuts that can be made, but I'm not the one running for county council.
So you think that's just the norm? You spend it because if you don't, it'll go away?
Well, this is in my experience. I obviously can't speak for everybody. It would be foolish of me to do so. But in my experience where I've worked, every time that management is getting funding for something, it's always been, we need to spend this, or the next time we do it, they're going to look at the report of the money that they gave us,
less.
And they're going to cut it the next time.
Cut it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. However, when you look at what you get, the income or the funds that are given to the county, either in grants or whatever the case may be, that money needs to go for whatever it was intended. And if they save money, hallelujah.
Great. Yeah, that should be. So that's a mindset change, really.
Yeah, it is. It is a mindset change. I look at my own finances with my family, and I know things are different.
I didn't see. Did you roll up in a Bentley? What kind of car are you rolling in?
Yeah.
It was a Ferrari.
Ferrari?
It was, yeah.
Is it red?
No.
Rolls Royce with suicide doors. Had the umbrella in the.
Yeah, there you go. No, but if you. And I guess I'm old-fashioned because I don't. I'm one of those that if I don't have the money, I don't buy it. And that's how I look at the county finances. Once you look at what revenue you have coming in, and then you see, okay, where does it go once it is in, then that's it. You draw the line. And I did that in my job. If a surgeon said, well, I want this new drill, or this new saw, well, what's wrong with your old one?
Right. Do I need this?
Right.
Is this a needed purchase? You have to look
at the needs instead of the wants.
Right.
So you talk about and what's wrong with the old one or the jail, and you say we need to be in a different spot. Where should a jail go? What's the right place? Is it combining together? We've talked on this show about all these different counties that are building new jails. Do we need to combine with another county and maybe combine our jail with Delaware County, or should we find a different area in an unpopulated part of the county for the jail, or what's the right answer then?
Well, if we had no one that belonged in a jail, it'd be great not to have one. I would love that idea.
Just stop arresting people.
Let's just stop arresting people and not have a jail. However, that isn't going to happen. I don't know that the answer is going with another county. No. I feel like, we have to have the means here to do that. And if it means, increasing the taxes to do that, then that may be the only recourse. Where it would go, I really don't know. I don't know what area would be available.
It would take a lot of studying.
It would.
That's the tough part. Would. There's always the not in my backyard, right?
Yeah,
every issue.
Yeah.
We've talked about that with land use. Every week we have that issue.
The youth center, when they built that, and because I'm still confused on what all happened there, because that building, I know another group now uses it.
The Youth Opportunity Center has it for, I think, a 3-year lease. And they just had a grand opening, I think.
Yeah, they did, and which is wonderful. I'm glad to see that. But I'll admit that a while back I was wondering, why didn't they just renovate that and make that?
Yeah, that was something that Butch brought up. He talked about one of his ideas was renovating that. And it was.
And then you think, okay, do you want that by the park? But, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fight they had in the 90s when they located it there to start with.
Yeah.
Right? That's
as long as the doughboy doesn't go in front of it, we should be okay.
So a couple other issues that we did want to cover. County roads. They always talking about my roads on this show. There was a update today from I didn't bring the notes in with me, but Joe Wiley, the highway superintendent, said that there was about $700,000 in community crossings grant money that was coming in, and it's a matched grant. So because our community this is the one time it's nice to have less than 50,000 people. Henry County has like 49,000 people. We have to match 75% of that number to get that, and that's going to go towards road paving this year. You talked about your goals, or it's saying, hey, we're going to put it in the newspaper. What do you think a road strategy should be for Henry County? When the county roads, we got 800 miles of county roads, and you have an influence on it if you're on the council. What say
where?
you? Yeah, where, what, how?
My road. Your road.
She ran for. Oh, thank you very much. Mine's going to get a special meeting. My road's going to get repaved because I'm getting this stupid new sewer that I have to pay for. So I'm going to get a new road because they're going to tear up my road.
Yeah. Now, because I saw you put on here, the populated, areas or the most used. Well, that's a hard decision, because everybody you talk to, that's what they want their road fixed.
You want your sewers to work, your trash to get picked up, and your roads to work, right?
Yeah, and so to me that
preferably the inmates in the jail.
Yeah, and that is a priority. And hopefully Joe Wiley would be the best one to tell you, okay, this is where the worst roads are. The ones that's damaging the cars and, ruining the axles and the wheels. And those roads, I think, should be a priority. The ones that are really, really, the ones where the caves that you fall in.
Yeah. People are going to have to, it would end up costing money in the long run. Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Mike Broyles is watching and says, I need a new road. I deserve a new road, Mike. I pay my taxes. I deserve a new road, right?
We all do, though.
I pay my taxes, too, and my road doesn't get plowed in the winter. So,
and,
you need to know your city councilman better.
I know Mark very well.
Maybe just slip him a 20 next time you see him.
We're related. What more do I have to do?
Rebecca Baker's in the chat, and she says that it's a 10-year lease with the Youth Opportunity Center. I thought I had heard it was 3 years, so it's a 10 years.
Oh,
so
it's 10? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't make any decisions fast around here, so by the time we're ready to actually do something about the jail,
hey, 10 years
might be what we do.
Enough time to think about it.
Yeah, we've needed a new jail for a long
time.
Very long time.
Shell building, it's just sitting out there. Maybe, I don't know. There's a whole lot of other possibilities. Well, why don't we buy a bunch of different properties as part of revitalizing downtown and have multiple little jails?
Mini jails all over.
Yeah,
boutique jails.
Fix them up really well on the outside, so whenever people drive through, they're like, "Wow, look at all these cool buildings." Yeah. They don't know it's a jail.
I say we have one of the couples from HGTV come and redo the outside of it.
Flip this jail.
Yeah, flip this jail. We can make it a TV show.
Flipper cuffs.
Listen, Peg. If you don't come up with better ideas, we get this crap.
We're in trouble.
You got to give me a proposal we can talk about, or else you're going to hear about we're gonna make our jail neon green over here. All right, so roads. The last thing Dakota had on here for us was talking about: is it population density? Is it general use? What's the right way to choose what roads we pave? And you think maybe deferring to the highway superintendent and letting him come up with a plan and supporting that plan is where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
as long as all of the county council people get their roads paved.
Actually, Madison County takes care of part of mine. So
does it?
Yeah.
Oh, you barely live here. You could get annexed into Madison County and solve all your problems.
Yeah, there you go. Although there's a big. I don't know if it's a farm or what it is, and all their big trucks come down our road, and
that's rough on them.
Oh yeah,
it is rough.
And it's.
So, do you think that the answer to that is that we need to pave more of them? Or is it utilizing chip and seal, or even like going back to gravel technology? What? You hate that, but it's like it's so expensive.
Yeah, it is. And I when I saw that, I did think about that, and I thought, okay, chip and seal. I know it's cheaper. I know that, but it doesn't last. It does not last. And I know when you look at the roads where they've actually done a pavement over, that lasts quite a while. It really does.
If you have a really good road base, chip and seal works well. Highway 36, US 36 is a chip and seal road.
Yeah,
believe it or not. So that, if you have a road that's designed well and taken care of.
If it's a county road that's already in horrible shape.
That's where you have to start over. You have to really go back in and grade and then build the road and then maintain it, which is something we've complimented Rush County on a number of times. Problem is you've got hundreds of miles of road that are in inferior shape.
Right.
And to really fix them the right way, you're chasing for a very long time to actually get there. It is what it is.
That's true.
We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight, right?
Oh no, this is not an overnight fix. None of it. I mean, if you think about it, I know somebody said, that you can't blame the current officials because they weren't in seat. Yeah, they were.
They've been in seat.
These county officials have been in for a very long time. So the problems we have been here for a long time. It's not a new thing. It's something that's been here for a very long time. So it's not going to get fixed overnight. No,
nothing ever does.
None.
Everything takes work.
I think we should forget about the roads. I think we should invest the money in flying car technology.
At the county level.
At the county level.
Yeah.
That's where the future's at.
Be the leader.
We could be the leader.
World
we could
leader.
be the next Wilbur Wright.
I like your idea. Or we should really entice a shock absorbing company to manufacture their products here, and then everybody can just have constantly be replacing everything on their vehicles.
Just a test. It's just a test bed.
Or you could just drive slower.
No.
That's never
No.
Peg, that's not an option.
Okay.
That's the worst decision we could make.
Okay.
All right. Final side here. Memorial Park. It's going through it's going through a major reimagination, big upgrades.
Yes.
Food and beverage money is going into the park. As a part of that, the Hope Initiative came along with a plan to relocate the Doughboy, restore it, move it. Do you have strong feelings on that issue, or is that not your it wasn't one of your driving issues? But where are you at on this?
I think it's wonderful that it's been refurbished. I think that's great. I would like to see it go back where it was. I mean, I really would. I just can't see it. I've tried to picture it sitting in front of the Smith building, and I just can't. I can't vision that. And so, yeah, I'd like to see it go back where it was.
Okay. All right.
That's a fair answer. Would you support, if you were on the council and you had control of the county money, would you support paying for a new statue to go in front of the Smith building? We talked about Mark Sean Orr had the idea of having a second Doughboy, paying for a second, because there's a lot of them out there that have been refurbished that aren't in use anymore in other places. And I think they're like $20,000 is what Mark said, $20,000. So would you, if
we get you a good used Doughboy for $20,000?
Yeah, it's 20. So, but would you support that? Spending some money on it? I think that Mark's idea was like half county money and half public donation was his idea. Just kind of.
If I was on the county council, I probably would be inclined to say, raise the money.
Give them time to raise the money.
No hurry. Raise the money. I think there's other things county money should go to besides that.
Yeah.
I think it's
that's
admirable
kind of
that they would want to do that. But, I mean, I think that is something that if people really cared about it, they could raise the money.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that we're on the same page. Because my whole thing has been like, okay, at this point, there's a lot of emotion evolved in this. So just tell everybody that's in the opposition, you have this amount of time, this much time, and to raise the money. Mm-hmm. And if you meet your goals, we'll talk about it. We'll sit down and we'll talk about this. But I don't know. I'm not on the park board.
Me either.
I don't intend to.
I mean, like I said, I think it's admirable, but I would say, do all the fundraising you can. I'm sure there's organizations out there that would be willing to take it on and try to raise money.
What about at the larger level for the park? Do you see that Henry County should have a county park? Should we be spending more money and expanding it? Is it what do you see the future of Henry County and Memorial Park 10, 15 years from now?
I think if you aren't going to like my answer, but I'm going to say I think having the park is great. I like Baker Park and I like Memorial Park. Do I spend a lot of time there? Not really. I don't. And that's probably because of my age and my grandkids are older, so I don't spend a lot of time there. However, if this county proceeds in the direction it's been going since 2009, then I don't foresee a lot of people coming here. And if we don't have new families that want to come here to live and raise their families, then what good is the park?
Yeah.
I mean, I strongly feel that families are the key. I know, and everybody talks about we need jobs. I'm not saying we don't.
But could the park be an asset to help bring people here?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think
it goes
what brings,
to the financial side of how people can support themselves.
Exactly. And I mean, I've lived here my entire life, but never worked in this county. Well, I take that back. I did work at an insurance agency before I got married. But my entire career was out of the county working, but I loved living here.
Right.
So I think as long as we can attract families and our schools are the best, that's what will bring people here. And then when people are here, then you can work on that other stuff.
Yep.
But something has
We
to.
already have the best schools.
We do.
Yeah.
I agree.
Easy.
I think we do.
The Newcastle Career Center.
I think we
one
do.
of the best assets
Yeah.
in the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah. My son
Absolutely.
went there.
Okay. Well, yeah. On the park issue, I think they've tried in a number of different ways where the golf course controversially was sold, but we still have a golf course and it's not on the county's. It's not the county's responsibility to insure it or maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have that asset.
Right.
It's a nice golf course now too.
There's a number of creative ways that the council and the commissioners have tried to hang on to the asset they have. The Saddle Club is basically free.
Right.
The council,
and that brings in a lot of people,
and it brings a
does.
lot of people into the community, which helps us at a number of levels. But they get that ground for $1 a year, but then they're responsible for the maintenance,
right?
And they volunteers, and they're basically it's self-sustaining, but it brings people in. So we found different ways to have the public and the private organizations together, and then we're looking at the Expo Center, which the commissioners they're in negotiations now for that 501c3 to lease some more ground in the park so that you have another economic base there. But yeah, it's not an easy answer. There's not a lot of counties that have a park like Memorial Park.
Right.
And that's why, this conversation's a legitimate one to have to, what should we have? What's the future? Cities have parks. A lot of counties don't have this type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Westwood is a different one as well, where that's the Big Blue River Conservancy District operates that, but it's another asset of Henry County. So we've got parks.
There's a Westwood golf course too,
and
another good golf course.
Right.
Yes,
yeah.
But we have state parks in Henry County. We have a state park. We have county parks. We have state land. We have city parks. There are town parks. There's all of these different groups.
I mean, seriously, Henry County is a beautiful.
It is
a beautiful place.
It is.
It's
Yeah,
like Betsy
I
Mills
agree.
said whenever she came on that we have the best sunsets in the entire world.
So
I don't know. I've been to Hawaii.
I lived in Florida for a while, but it's not too bad.
We beat Florida sunsets. Absolutely. In the middle of the summertime.
Oh yeah.
We don't
I
have a
agree.
beach.
how about land use?
Doesn't matter.
So we talked about needing, we need to get people here. The County Road 300 South redevelopment was approved by the Planning Commission and then by the commissioners. Is that type of development something you think the county should be allowing to move forward, where you go from rural residential to light industrial?
I would have preferred they waited and had a buyer so they knew what was potentially going to move in there. That would have been my choice, I think, to just blanket, make it, light industrial.
I think that the problem with that, though, is that this rezoning was to try to attract a buyer.
I understand that, but I also feel like I don't know that we were given all the information on that situation. So I'm
that goes back
skeptical.
to the trust issue, right?
Yeah, it does.
Where
It does.
Corey Murphy, the Economic Development Corporation, is another one that you called for his resignation.
I did.
It's the it's a trust factor.
Yeah.
So if you don't trust the Economic Development Corporation or the things that they're doing when they say, "Hey, I need X so that I can bring in Y," if you don't have a trust or you naturally kind of go, well, I don't want to do that, or I don't
Right.
believe that. So I think that's
Yeah.
probably where you're coming from.
Exactly.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that's the motive I see.
Well, you're so correct, because at the same time he said there was no buyer, he also mentioned that Duke Energy was talking with Duke Energy, and which led me to believe that, okay, is Duke Energy wanting to do something there,
You have any
You just
word on
don't
that,
know.
Dakota?
I wouldn't know.
Yes.
I wouldn't know
Dakota's
anything.
As
Since you
Dakota's
work
friend
there.
and counsel, I'll
Yes.
tell you, don't speak on behalf of any sort of electric company in any way.
I do not.
Yeah,
It is a trust issue, but if I didn't even know that, if I didn't have that issue, I still think I would have preferred that they held off, because if someone was really interested in it, I think they would have stepped forward no matter what and said, we really like that location. Can we get it changed, And if we can, we can make a deal. But I would have liked to have seen that first.
Yeah, I think that one of the issues with that, though, is that they don't. A developer wouldn't look at other pieces of land. If they were looking for land, they would be looking for
Something that was already there.
Yeah.
they'll find something off
Really?
of 31 in
It's
Kokomo
kinda like-
that's ready to go.
It's kind of like going back to there was a long discussion on our note that we published on Monday, and it was talking about giving tax abatements to industry that was coming to Henry County, and as a libertarian, I say we should let business be business and government be government, but at the same time. It's kind of almost a necessary evil at this point, because if they don't get it here,
They'll
they're
go
just going to
somewhere
take their
else.
job somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing with the land. If they don't see it here, they'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I see it. But I understand the side of the people that might be upset that live around that area. I can see it. But
Me too.
You know,
Me too.
I think that the growth of our county is worth it.
Yeah. In Anderson, in Madison County, and you may be aware of this, they did a tax abatement for a developer that was building homes instead of like industry coming in. I mean, they actually gave him a tax abatement to build these homes. That's one way to draw families, and I think that's a great idea,
I didn't know that.
Madison County's also been pretty successful, where they attracted Nestle and they attracted NTN.
Right.
They've had that balance. And
They have.
I've said a number of times that I really do think Henry County is one more 300 or 400 job project away from having that next building.
It's moving this way. So
That's what they always
the
say.
The potential's there.
Indy
It is
grows
there.
east. Indy grows east.
Exactly.
Yep. We're the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
I
you
agree.
count Markville.
I think we need a couple more McDonald's and some more gas stations, because we don't have enough.
Who
More
needs
truck
a new
stops.
McDonald's is Connorsville. I'm tired of driving down to Brookville and going through Connorsville, and the McDonald's drive-through line is out in the middle of the freaking road. I hate that.
I
Drives
would
me
like
crazy.
to see a Culver's.
Yeah.
I
You got to
would
go to
like to see
Muncie.
a Culver's.
See?
You got to go to Muncie or Anderson.
I'm
There's one-
Anderson,
there-
yeah.
You live close to a
I know,
Culver's. That
well,
one
I
on the
know,
south
but
side
I
of
know,
Anderson's not
see,
too
I'm in
far.
Newcastle a lot.
Especially
So
if you're a
my
county council.
my favorite
like
thing
that.
at Culver's is the kids meal. Seriously.
Their
Really?
cheese
You
curds
get
are awesome.
so much
I
stuff in the
know,
kids meal.
and it's cheap.
I eat the kids meal and I think, my God, people let their children eat all this? Like a cheeseburger, French fries, ice cream.
Ice cream.
You gotta get
It's
the cheese
custard.
curds.
It's not
man.
ice cream.
Oh,
All about
whatever.
the cheese curds.
I
The
deep
cheese
down, I'm
curds
like
are good.
85
Yeah.
years old, and I'm on the South Beach diet, so I get the pot roast with double green beans.
Oh, well, that's
when I
good
visit.
too.
Yeah, that's not bad. All right, so we're like at an hour and a half. We're at that. Do you feel like
Are
we've gone
we
an hour
really?
and a half?
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
I know. Is there anything that you were supposed to say, you wanted to say we didn't get to? Any topics we meant to talk about?
I can't think of anything.
Who
feel good?
Who are your competitors? Who are you
Oh
running
gosh, there's a lot.
Yeah,
Steve
There's
Duggar
4 of them.
is
Four of them.
the incumbent.
Incumbent. It's not Scuba Steve. It's Incumbent Steve.
Yes.
against? You want to trash talk any of them?
No.
Here's your chance.
Nah, I really don't know any of them that well to do that. So, aren't I fortunate there?
I heard they're just a
You
bunch
know.
of liars. So.
I mean, the
All
only
right.
one I see on a regular basis is Steve Degger, and I see him at the meetings. So,
Have you
the
met,
rest of them
have you
I
met
don't know.
Betsy?
I've met her one time. I met her at the Republican Club.
I like Betsy. I take that back about you, okay?
You never say that. Stacy Stoltz, I have never met him. I assume it's a him.
Casey? Yeah.
Casey.
Oh, is it Casey?
Yeah.
Not Stacy?
Yeah, we've not heard a lot about Casey. He didn't file his CFA-4 either. Calling
You don't have
out,
to.
Casey.
If you don't raise or spend $100, you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And then Dakota
Dakota Clark, the Democrat.
Clark,
He's like 18
Don't
or
know
19 years
him.
old from Knightstown. And then
Oh, is
Jesse.
that where he's from? I didn't know where he's from.
And I think he's a Ball State student.
Oh, okay.
And
Yep,
then
yes.
Jesse Riddle's the Libertarian. He'll be on the ballot in the fall as well.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's a full field.
Boy.
It's
Yeah.
busy.
Oh, my gosh.
You get out of this one, you've still got 2 more to defeat in the fall.
Gee, thanks for saying that.
So
Thank
with
you
that
so
said,
much.
tell me how people give money to the Peg Stefandel campaign.
Actually, my friends and they have done it, and my husband, bless his heart, has generously helped. And
So
then
you've got all the money you need?
Yeah,
It's the wrong
think so.
answer.
I think I do.
It's the wrong answer, Peg.
Oh, is
how do
it?
people give you money for the fall?
Oh, I see what you.
Come on.
Hint. They can make it out to the committee to elect Peg Stefandel.
All right.
And they can send it to Dickerson Accounting, and it's 301 South 17th Street,
Newcastle, Indiana. I'm going to guess it's 47362.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It just takes me a while.
We'll get you there. It's like campaign training tonight.
Yeah,
we got
okay.
it.
Good.
All right. So how do people volunteer for you? You got all your signs out. But
I have
are you
all
doing
my
some
signs
walking?
out.
You guys have to walk Knightstown, Middletown, Shirley, any of those places?
Actually, I have walked Knightstown myself.
It's easier to walk north to south than east to west.
Yeah, it is. Oh, well, I wasn't by myself. I had a couple
South side
other
of
people
town
with
has
me.
some stairs.
Well, and I told him, I said, you guys took that side of the street, and I got this side of the street, and I'm the one walking up all the steps. I mean, and I kept watching them, and they were just going down the sidewalk and in, and down the sidewalk and in, and I'm climbing up the steps and down, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is not fair.
It's not for the faint of heart.
They gave me all the hills.
How about the dogs? Did you run across any good dogs?
I heard a bunch of them barking.
Oh,
so
man. I was
just
out
kept
campaigning
walking.
for Rex Bell last year. And
2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Been a while.
Gosh.
Old man.
I about got eaten by a big old German Shepherd. You remember that?
Ooh.
There was a German Shepherd that made you nervous, and then I thought I lost you one time at an apartment building over in the sketchy part of Newcastle.
I have
Dakota
blocked that out of
disappeared.
my memory. That was a bad deal. That was a bad deal.
Why?
I thought these people are going to stab me, and they are going to steal my kidney, and I'm going to wake up in a cooler full of ice.
Oh my gosh.
But thankfully, they're voters.
Yes.
Now my grandkids also helped. I took them in the car and we hit a bunch of paper boxes. Not hit them literally, but stuck things in the
Peg
in the paper
Stefandel,
boxes.
destroying paper
Destroying
boxes.
paper boxes.
No wonder
We
the Courier
we put
Times
my
gives you so
little-
much trouble.
I
You take out their
know.
paper boxes.
Yeah. So we put I have postcards and we put them in the paper boxes. So we spent an entire day doing that. So
It takes effort.
it does. It's a lot of work.
The warmer it gets, the more people have their screen doors open, and the more their dogs jump on those screen doors. And you think, oh my God, I don't know if
They're
that
gonna
tiny
come
little latch
through.
is going to keep that dog back. And sometimes they don't.
I had one door I went to, and it said, "Do not ring the doorbell. The dog will kill you." Yeah,
I need that
literally,
sign.
It did.
I need that sign.
And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I won't." So I just stuck the card under the doormat and turned around and went back out. So
We'll hope for the best.
yeah.
But what if
That's
Betsy rings the
classic.
doorbell and gets the vote?
Well,
Oh, no. No.
It was not worth that risk.
All right. Well, and if people want to volunteer for you election day, work out at the polls or anything, how do they get in touch with you?
They actually can contact me through Facebook, or they can send on my email.
All right.
Yeah.
You got an
want
email
my
address?
email?
Yeah.
Yeah, pegandstretch@hotmail.com.
There we go.
Peg A-N-D?
It's Peg in
In.
Stretch.
Stretch.
Peg
All
and
right.
Stretch. That's what they call my husband, Stretch. He's tall. I'm
Peg and
short.
Stretch.
So he
He's
monitors,
6'6.5".
he
I got
monitors your emails for you.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
He wouldn't know how to even get on my email, but that's okay. But yeah, Peg and
We
Stretch.
won't tell him you said that.
hotmail.com. Oh, he wouldn't care. He knows. He calls my computer the magic box. He doesn't like computers.
That's one strike against him. All right. Well, very good. Well, thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Did we
Thanks
make
for
this
having
painless
me.
enough for you?
You did. It was fun.
Yeah.
I
There we
enjoyed
go.
it. I did.
We're not too bad.
That's the goal.
No, you're not.
She
You're
didn't get
okay.
up and walk out on
I
us.
didn't.
Storm out in anger.
Nope.
55 episodes in, and we haven't lost a patient yet.
Except for Nate Lamar.
Well, Nate did leave early, but we knew that was coming.
He'll redeem himself next week.
We're gonna put a bumper. We're gonna take Nate and we're gonna tie him into the chair, and we're not letting him leave early this next time.
Seatbelt on.
Next week, if Nate leaves early, we're gonna run a smear campaign against Nate Lamar.
That's right.
All right,
Better watch it.
Mr. Chase Peyton, Sports Desk.
All right, I have a couple things. One final update for the Pacers game. It is 63-59 Cavs. 6 minutes to go.
What the hell happened?
I don't know. I don't even know if this is up to date because my phone's been slow lately, so it could be a lot worse now. I don't know.
Things are going so well, Peg.
I know.
Kenan gave us an update a little while ago.
At halftime, Kenny gave it. It was fine at halftime.
Yeah, it was going good at halftime.
It's like a funeral in here. It's not been this sad since Eric the Turkey died.
I do have a new segment I want to start.
Okay.
When I first did this, I thought
Glad he checked with us
people-
first.
I thought I figured, I'm a co-host now. I'm just gonna throw it in there without you guys saying no to it. So when I first did this, I thought you were running. Next month people were gonna be able to vote for you. I didn't know you made it all the way to November already.
Yeah, I'm in like Flynn now, man. I'm in there in November.
So we're gonna start this a little early. I want the voters to get to know you better.
They can contribute. You can go to my. You can write a check right now. We will take money.
You're always.
I'm not like Peg. I got enough. No. Send me money.
You're always interviewing the other candidates.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to interview you, and
All
I'm
right.
just gonna warn you. Me and Dakota, we're professional interviewers.
Here's the thing. On this show, we send the guests the things ahead of time, and you haven't cleared this with me, so I don't know. I don't know what's coming.
Listen, I'll warn you. It's 6 questions.
Oh, boy.
3 softballs and 3 hard-hitting questions.
All right.
Okay. All right.
The first one is, what is your favorite color?
Green.
Green. All right.
4-H green.
See,
have a reason.
Not too
There you
bad
go.
so far.
All right. That was the tough one, right?
Number 2, what's your favorite adult beverage?
Right now, vodka soda with lime.
All right. Number 3, are you a boxers or briefs kind of guy? That's a
like Bill Clinton?
That's a wacky question, but that tells a lot about
you. It could be either. I own both country and western.
All right, he goes commando.
I have both.
What about boxer briefs?
No, those are terrible.
That was the answer I want you to get.
Those are terrible.
Yep.
I'm not a compromiser.
I'm a boxer briefs guy.
A little
Poor
comfort
Peg.
and
I
support.
feel so bad for Peg.
All right, number 4. If you could choose between ending world hunger or starting and having world peace, which one would you choose?
And from the county council?
No. Say your county
say
council seat, it ramps you up to world leader.
Yes.
Commander of the free world.
Which one would you choose?
Prioritize.
I'm going to go peace.
That's what I
Okay,
would
so
I'm
do.
gonna go peace.
you want starving kids
We can
in
fix.
Africa?
I think that if
You're all
we
for that.
if we
free
had
markets, we
world,
can fix hunger.
yeah, if we had world peace, then that would
No,
inevitably
you
lead to less
you
hunger.
either get one or the other.
No, if we had world peace, it would inevitably cause and effect, dude. We'd have inevitably. It would always
Well,
happen.
hey,
If we could
Dakota,
stop
this is
fighting
my
about-
interview.
If we can
okay?
stop fighting about doughboys and
All right.
windmills, we could have some world peace around here, and then nobody's going to be hungry.
All right,
There you go.
We'll get a Culver's.
Number 5. If you could go back in time and kill baby Hitler,
Oh, boy.
would you do it?
Sure.
You wouldn't do it,
I
Dakota?
don't think so.
So you're fine with millions of
I-
people dying.
Well, it's not the people that are dying.
Ben
There's
Shapiro.
such a,
What would Ben Shapiro think of
there's
this if he
a
could hear you right now?
horrible. There's a horrible gray area whenever it comes to time travel that I don't think that you've thought about.
You got to go back to November of 1955 and see what Doc says and get
All
Doc's
right.
advice. I need a phone a friend. It's got to be Doc Brown.
The last and final question, and I'm going to do this every once in a while until the election day. They're
Okay.
all going to be different questions.
Good, because I don't want some of these again.
This is the last and final question. Number
right.
6. If you had in each hand, you were hanging off a cliff, and in your left hand was Sarah, your fiance,
Yep.
and in your right hand was your own mother,
Oh my
and you could only save one of them. Which one would you save?
I'm going to save them both and die.
No, that's not a choice.
It is.
No, because if you die, that means you fell off and they both die.
Well,
But the only way to save one of them
That's
is
the
to
only
let
answer
one
that
of
doesn't
them
get me in
go.
trouble.
I think if it was me, I think my mother would want me to save my wife.
Think so?
I think that's the safest answer that you can get.
Yeah,
to
I'd
that,
rather
Jared.
die.
Well,
yeah.
you can jump off after you save one of them. I'm
You
not
still have to save one of them. No.
All right, I guess they both die.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
All right, well, this
That's it.
concludes.
Good luck.
Thanks
luck
for that.
living with that.
There's 3 plots now.
This concludes the first interview with Jeremiah Morrell.
Well, that went well. Any other segments you want to dream up?
No, if I think of any, I'll just come on here and do them before asking
Okay.
you guys.
I like that. I liked that a lot.
At Chase Peyton on the Twitter.
Yeah, at Chase Peyton on the Twitter. You can tweet me. I probably won't tweet you back because
Have you been?
You liked one of my tweets yesterday.
I get on Twitter a lot and I like a lot of stuff. I'll retweet mainly just sports things, but I get on Twitter more than Facebook.
Do you control the Boss Hog of Liberty or Twitter page?
I have the info to it. I haven't been on it yet.
The other day, I guess this kind of leads into my final thoughts. The other day, I was checking my Twitter, and I didn't realize that I was logged in as the Boss Hog of Liberty. So I was sharing some stuff that if you go on the Boss Hog of Liberty page, it was actually supposed to be on my personal page and not so much the Boss Hog page. It's kind of funny. There's some religious stuff in there, but like theology memes and stuff.
Okay, well, some of our viewers are religious, so they might like
Maybe.
that.
I think that I shared
It doesn't have to be all.
I think I shared a John Calvin quotes.
It doesn't have to be all politics.
Maybe not. No.
If I ever get on there, it'll probably be something about sports.
What about Doug
probably.
Flutie? What do you say about Doug Flutie?
I heard that segment on
Fruity.
yesterday's show at Fruity Flakes.
Flutie is fruity.
All right. Anything else, Dakota?
So the tubes that I got for the Boss Hog of Liberty, if you're a Patreon subscriber of $25 or more a month, then you get stickers and a poster and all kinds of good stuff that come in a brown tube. And I ordered them on Amazon, and apparently they weren't Prime, so I thought I would get them in 2 days. So that's why a few weeks ago I said, I'm going to be shipping them out this weekend.
Always has an excuse.
Yeah, they didn't come that weekend. They came today, actually. So before the show, I packaged them all up. There's a mystery of what's inside. In this one, I think that...
Why don't you give people's address out live on the air on the
that's
HD
what I'm
camera?
doing. Can you see it? Can you see it? This is
Doxing people.
This is Rebecca Baker's tube.
For an extra $20, I will make sure they sign it themselves.
I'm the only person that knows what's in here right now. How cool is that?
Pretty cool.
I kind of know.
You kind of know, yeah.
All right.
I put some surprises in there, though.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, it's spring-loaded with glitter.
Terrorism.
No, it is not. Nope. So we have 4 of them to send out. That means that we have 4 people that are over $25 a month to us, which is awesome.
I touched one myself.
Yep.
So
But
that adds to it.
So look us up, patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty. You'll get all kinds of bonus content. We drop show notes in there now so that you can see show notes, and I put links on them for relevant things. So you could see the programs that Peg went through in her college career for the show notes on this and her church's website. There's a lot of bonus content that you get if you sign up on Patreon. So
well, very
that's
good.
my plug.
We are. We've made it through the entire show without audio problems. Pretty excited about that on the live stream.
I know.
If,
Peg, you're lucky.
If you watched last
You
night,
need to come back next week.
Okay.
if you watched last night and you had problems, go to our iTunes page or bosshogliberty.com, and the audio is there. It's perfect. Nothing's cut out. We always say that the number one product we put out is the iTunes podcast, or is the podcast. We're on Indiana Talks. We're on Spotify. We're on all kinds of different platforms. We're on TuneIn Radio on your phone. Look us up on any of those, and you can listen to us. Stitcher. We're on all of those platforms in the audio version, and then we put things on YouTube and we put them on Facebook, and that helps reach. On average, somebody might watch us for 2 or 3 minutes at a time on Facebook, and it puts us on the radar for people. But if you're really consuming the show, you're listening on that iTunes feed. So, and you don't go through your mobile data. Listen, we're sitting here in the studio. We look about the same. There's a picture of us. We took it. You know what we look like. You don't have to sit here and watch the whole video if you don't want to. Jump on iTunes and watch us over there. So that's my little plug. one more show tomorrow night to wrap up this week.
Yep, with Jonathan Lamb.
Jonathan Lamb's coming on.
He's coming back.
If Greg Pence wants to come on, he can let us know, but we're still waiting on our phone to ring.
Stephen McKenzie, we didn't invite him.
Well, so funny story on Steve McKenzie. Quick. We had him on, or we had him scheduled, and then something happened. He got overbooked, double scheduled, whatever.
Okay, so here's what actually happened. We had invited him on. We had him scheduled for about a month, and then at the very last minute, his campaign manager says, Stephen McKenzie is still in Washington, D.C., but I'm going to come in his place. And we said, okay. And then, so we went through the episode, and everything was fine. And then the next day, from the Stephen McKenzie Facebook page, we find out that he was here walking around Henry County and Newcastle.
He was in Newcastle and skipped out on us.
Yeah.
But, we were trying to be nice guys.
Well, then we got popular, and a representative of his campaign sent us a message and said, Stephen would love to come on your show. He would absolutely love that. And we were like, sorry, dude, you had your chance, but we will have Jonathan Lamb on twice.
So we had Bill Smythe on the show, and Bill has separated from the McKenzie campaign, and he endorsed Jonathan Lamb the other day. So, it's been an interesting cycle. Whatever. We'll have we had Lane Siekman on. We'll have whomever the Democrat is will be invited on the show, and then it looks like Tom Firkinoff is probably going to win the Libertarian nomination. We're going to continue to watch the District 6 race and have these guys on, and then the Senate side too. We'll have them on, and then of course as we get towards the general election, we'll continue the candidate series and have all of the candidates that are going to be on in the fall: Libertarian, Republican, Democrat, Independent, or Green Party, whatever ends up there. We're going to try to have everybody through the program. We really appreciate folks watching.
Do we have an episode Tuesday next week?
I don't know.
I'm blanking, man. I am blanking hard.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm trying to get through this week, dude.
I know.
We'll look live on the. Let's have a show meeting, staff meeting while Peg's still sitting here.
On my Google Calendar, it just says extra episodes, so I don't know what I was thinking when I put that there.
No, the first we are not. I'm planting at the courthouse. If you want me, I'll be at the county courthouse with the 4-H junior leaders doing mulching out at the county
Peg,
courthouse.
You want to come back
5,
Tuesday?
6 o'clock.
You and I can do a podcast.
Yeah, we can do it.
We can do it without Jerry.
After tomorrow night, we go back to just Thursdays. We're doing the Nate Lamar, Steve Duggar episode on the 3rd, and then Tuesday the 8th is the election night special.
That's right.
Peg, our plan, if we can make everything work, we're gonna take phone calls. We're gonna send Chase down to Primo, and he's gonna be wandering around and talking to candidates as they win, as they lose. We're gonna try to do some live interviews on the air. So win or lose, we want to try to talk to you. Election night, see what happens.
I won't be there.
How's that going to help us? All right, we're going to have to text you. We're going to get a phone number, and we'll call into you wherever you're at. We'll try to work it out.
Yeah, I told my husband I'm going to stay home and be with him.
All right. Well, we're going to try to catch up with you on election night.
You can do that.
Once things come in,
you can do that.
We're going to try to have an election night special show over here. We're going to report on the county council, the county commissioners, the prosecutors race in Congress. So that's our goal. We're going to do a live show. And God only knows what's going to happen. But we're going to try it.
You can call me or text me, whatever you want to do.
All right. We want your
voice. I have neglected him some, so I'm going to stay home with him.
I mean, this could be the last chance. Once you become a county councilwoman, governor's probably next.
I know.
That's why I had to start a podcast with my wife.
No. There you go.
A little too much Jeremiah time for Dakota. All right, that's enough of this.
Did you start one? Because I haven't heard this week's episode.
Stop it. We'll see you all tomorrow night.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com.